communion at the table of the Lord. You know, I could be a woman. No one needs to know how much vanity I go around with and encourage in others, or whatever it is, you know, just throwing out examples. Collectively, our sin is infectious, okay? And all of us come to the table of the Lord, and we state our communion with Christ there at that table, that we will come worthily and receive the Holy Eucharist. Okay, same with our team. If you think that one starter who decided to party isn't going to affect the team, when he starts telling stories, he stayed up too late, now his throat's sore, and, you know, let's try to have that accountability built into our teams, okay? Get these kids really rocking and rolling on what's very important all season long, in that little, however long your season is, however much formation you get with them. One of my favorite Catholic authors, Robert Feeney, he writes about sports. He says, what is the purpose and object of sport? Understood in a healthy and Christian sense, if not to cultivate the dignity and the harmony of the human body, to develop its health, strength, agility, and grace. That being the purpose of sport, we can all check ourselves against that. Is that why I participate? Is that why I love sport? Do I help it to build those up in people? Do I help it to build it up in myself? Harmony of the human body, dignity, health, strength, agility, grace. As coaches, we have to be in it for that full development of the athlete. And if that's not happening, I don't want to be the first to break it to you, and I don't want to be the last to break it to you. But then it's just a useless movement of our body. It's a fleeting pleasure if we're just out there going through the physical motions. If our sport isn't aimed higher, if it doesn't elevate, you know, elevate the game, elevate the soul through the game, So these athletes, we're going to do our utmost to inspire them, to encourage their character. Absolutely. It makes me think of John Landy. Does anyone know? This is like sports trivia again. Anyone know of Landy? I'm going to share his story real quick because I absolutely love it. It's impactful to me. Landy, at the time, let me see. John Landy, he was known to exchange the holding of the 1 mile running record. And it was a world record, and it was in the 1950s, and he exchanged it with an American and a Brit. And so here they are, they're at the Melbourne Olympic Stadium, and they're contesting this. The place is filled to capacity. They want to see if John Landy, one of Melbourne's own sons, can break the world record right here, right now, with his 2 biggest competitors in the same race. They're thrilled. They want to be a part of something special, history in the making. At the start of the race, there was a lot of jostling for position, and the first lap went well and was run under 59 seconds, just under world record pace. And then as an eyewitness to the race, Reverend Dr. Gordon Moyes wrote, "Then occurred an event which is etched into my mind, so clearly that I can see it being replayed as if in slow motion. And I can never even think about it without tears coming to my eyes. Clark was moving to the left as they came into the corner on the 3rd lap. John Landy was on his shoulder, and Alec Henderson tried to squeeze in between the 2 runners in the curve. In doing so, Clark, with his spikes, clipped his heel. Clark sprawled forward on the cinder track, while Henderson was knocked into the infield. Landy leaped over the falling body of Clark in front of him, and as he did, his sharp spikes just tore open the shoulder of the young Clark. And the whole field either jumped over Clark or ran round him, and the crowd, which had been shouting, 'Landy! Landy!' with every stride, they suddenly responded with an enormous gasp. Landy then did the most incredibly stupid, beautiful, foolish, gentlemanly act I have ever seen. He stopped and ran back to the fallen Ron Clark, and he helped him to his feet, and he brushed the cinders from his knees. And checking his bloodied shoulders, he said, "Sorry." And Clark was all right. He said to Landy, "Keep going, I'm all right, run, run!" Landy had forgotten everything. The Australian mile title, his bid for the world record, his birth into the Summer Olympic Games that were approaching. All in a spontaneous gesture of sportsmanship. So Landy, he's now 40 yards behind the leaders. He was able to accelerate quickly from his complete stop and unbelievably began to pick off his competitors one by one. The roar of the crowd was deafening as he passed the leader on the final turn and with winged feet flew down the finishing stretch to break the tape. But rather than celebrating his own victory, he first turned and waited for Clark to finish and come across the line, and somewhat later reluctantly undertook a victory lap. These are the kind of athletes we're still talking about today. The ones who made it more about the story than about the score. And we love that. We love that about the Olympics. You know? Do you remember who won the Olympic gold, in this, that, or the other, however many years back? Usually not. Do you remember these incredible stories of heroism and how these families sacrificed for their individual to get there, or how their teams did incredible things for them to get there? You remember the story, not so much the score. And we need to remember that within our own teams. Yes, we want the score to be in our favor, but we want the story to be even more in our favor. We're writing the story with these kids. We're writing it not only in their heads, we're writing it in their hearts. An announcer at that same event later said, "The fellows in the press box, they don't have any heroes, and oftentimes they're the ones who create the heroes, and they know way too much about them to get behind any one of them. But up in the seats, it says we're so used to big sport, we don't even clap anymore. We're so busy. We've mastered observing without becoming excited." But on Saturday at 4:35 p.m., the sports writers all forgot the rules. They had a hero, every one of them. And you were it. So he's writing to Landy. He wrote him personally, "You were it. Among the 22,000 crammed into Olympic Park, there was not a soul who was not thrilled and inspired by your effort. None of them will ever forget it. Yours was the classic sporting gesture. It was a senseless piece of chivalry, but it will be remembered as one of the finest sporting actions of all time." And here we are, we're recounting, this is in the 50s, here we are, still talking about it today. Landy didn't just pull this show of character from nowhere. It's something he was perfecting every day. He was someone who could always see in the peripheral, despite being focused straight ahead. And the victory, albeit sweet, is only the culmination of the struggles and joys in making that journey. You guys need a 7th inning stretch, I just realized, right? I mean, everyone's like, oh, we're just wearing like sandwich comatose. All right, everyone stand up real quick. We're almost done. I'm gonna give you Acts 17:28. Anyone know what it is? All right, we'll do it together. It's so easy. Stretch up. In him we live and move and have our being. Let's just reach up one more time. In him we live and move and have our being. Good. See, I'm throwing in some baseball for you, Daryl. I'm going to wrap up here with a little bit of what the Catechism lends us. In paragraph 2289, it says, if morality requires respect for the life of the body, it doesn't make it an absolute. It rejects a neo-pagan notion that tends to promote the cult of the body, to sacrifice everything for its physical perfection, to idolize its success. Well, let's see. I should probably quote it directly. To idolize physical perfection and success at sports. And the church supports sports. Obviously, here they are, Catholic schools, sports, right? Because the church cannot but support everything that promotes the harmonious development of the human body, the human soul, the human mind. So it has great support built in for what we do, but it has context within the framework for you to operate within. When you tell the kids how, your love of the game and this is the rules, and let's remember this level of the love of the game, of the faith, the rules of the faith, the things that we love that are such a higher, sports are good, the faith is great. The faith is beyond even words. Great doesn't even really capture what it is. We need that health and fitness. Why do we need it? We need health and fitness to help our souls be victorious over the weakness of our bodies. Bottom line, it's an actual human need. Okay? And I don't want to single out just athletes. Oftentimes we get so focused on athletes who have a very unique platform and a very unique mission, but some young people that you're encountering do other things athletically. Maybe it's musically, maybe it's with technology, maybe it's acts of service that are heroic. Okay, they can be treated with the same respect. They may not be on the field. They may be in the soup kitchen line. They might be home with a handicapped brother or sister. Sorry, man, I almost got tears. Growing up, we were always helping to raise my husband's handicapped brother. And it was like the school of what nothing else can teach you when you have a fully dependent adult human being and you're doing all the feeding, changing, diapering, These are the experiences which we want to see be taken from what we gain through sport. The fortitude to do that every day, the perseverance, the self-sacrifice, the long-suffering, everything. These are all you guys are in the school of virtues. You're teaching virtues in an attempt to gain victory. I have to say, way out west, I'm just going to touch on this really quickly, but the families are missing Mass. I'm in a place where it's endurance athletics, and it's man for man. You do your own thing. You go so hard. Families are missing Mass. And when they're traveling to sporting events, they're missing Mass. When they're home, they're missing Mass. They're missing catechism. I was a middle school catechist last year. I'd have regularly 2 out of 14 students attend my class. Because those other students had sport commitments. It is such a shame. The parents will do anything to accommodate what the world is demanding on the family. You want a fast and rapid breakdown of family? Why don't you send him this way to take Johnny to soccer and send mommy this way 6 hours to take Jilly to dance? And why don't they all miss Mass because they're 8-year-olds' game day obligations? It is unhealthy where we're at, but I understand Peoria might be not that way, seeing all of you dedicated coaches. Let us get the truth out there. We have the world and the church squabbling over our time. And our greatest investment in our young people, our greatest investment in ourselves is still within the church. That's what's eternal. Father Chase doesn't pull on the jersey anymore. I don't put on the skis. Well, I kind of do. I have to say, I'm known for taking baby breaks. I called the first one when I was 19 when I retired. And retired at 19, right? That's crazy. I called that my retirement, and I came to find out I should just term them all baby breaks. I take a break, I have a baby, I come back and compete again. But there comes a point when it's, what is beyond the ball? What is after the game? What about when the clock stops running? What do you give these people to go forward with? Okay, so it's our greatest investment is in them as sons and daughters of the church. While sport is a great place to work on attaining virtue, it's all too often sport itself, and especially sport at the professional level, which aggrandizes greed, avarice, gluttony, close to litany. I meant gluttony. Gluttony, envy, pride, even lust. I mean, it aggrandizes that, right? We have so many sports heroes that are of such less than Christian virtue. I couldn't have had a big head. I was so saddened when I would used to Google Catholic and Olympian, and I would come to the top. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Is it that heroic to be Catholic and an Olympic athlete? To be Catholic and the best sports team, best baseball team, football team in Illinois? Is it really that hard? Let's make this normal for our young people, not extraordinary. Okay? We should be able to Google Catholic and Olympian and see scads of people. Or the most, whatever, Catholic and team. And just, you know, how many Catholics are in the world? How many Catholic high schools are in the world? This shouldn't be extraordinary stuff. I want to leave you with a couple just perhaps solid ideas. Again, I really have never hardly competed within the framework of team sports, so just if I'm way off base, let me know later. I really think maybe you could incorporate indispensable things of the faith in your programs. You know, you always know what stadium you're playing at or whatever, or what time it is, how much time the team needs to warm up. Okay? Let's do the same for know where the mass is, know what time it's at, know what church you're going to. Give your kids time of preparation, some silence, maybe pre-read the readings in the bus on the way there, or if you bring a chaplain. You know, we warm up for sport, man. We want to get out there with our A game. Let's bring our A game to mass. You know, if you forget your helmet, you're not playing. I'm sorry, if you come in a spaghetti strap tank to the mass, it's like forgetting your helmet. You know, there's requisite sporting equipment. Let's teach our young kids chastity too, in your locker rooms. Do you have an icon of Our Lady where the ladies dress? Do you have St. Joseph? Maybe you do. You are, after all, Catholic high schools. Okay, do you have Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati in there for your young people? So you could take them to Mass, adoration. Maybe they've never been, I don't know. Small group sharing. Make a small pilgrimage. Definitely watch when the game stands tall. Homework, remember? Homework. I'll get with, who's the superintendent? I'll make sure she gets my memo on that. Okay, have the kids share their own testimony. You know, high school students are some of the most clammed up, or in middle school, it's probably worse. Clammed up. Everyone's going to judge me. Have them share their testimony. See if anyone wants to talk at the level of faith. Okay? They inspire. They help the others to open up. Number 2, encourage a brother or sisterhood and solidarity through things like maybe teach the team or have someone on the team or someone teach perhaps about a brown scapular. Maybe all the team could be invested in the brown scapular. Right? Remember how we used to do like pinky swears or cut and touch the blood or whatever? Blah, blah, blah. Have them do something of substance. Have a sacramental that they can all unite around and find true divine meaning in. Have them wear a chastity ring. Pin a religious medal on their sports bags. You know, maybe get medals of Pope John Paul II. Great, great apostle to athletes. Have them pin a little religious medal on their sports bags. Create a faith-based team shirt. Something that they identify with the faith above the uniform. Like just something greater. And then number 3, reward character above athleticism. I know that sounds really weird, but we always want to put on the pedestal that athlete. But Father Chase and I and so many of others of you know that pedestal is great if it's used correctly, but I would rather see like, this is the service that, you know, Matt performed this week, and the whole team, yeah, Matt, you know, and this is what Veronica achieved musically. Yeah, Veronica, whatever, just something like character, though, character, so you can have like most sacrificial